Hey, boxing fans, what do you say? What do you know? What are you doing? Old school Saint here. Yeah, I know I've been gone for a long, long time, but I got to tell you, I had to absolutely do this video today to comment on the big fight tonight. You know why? Because I woke up last night, middle of the night, 2 o'clock in the morning, cold sweat. Like I had a nightmare. I woke up, eyes bulging, popped up, said, "Oh my God, what the heck did I just see? Was it a hallucination? Was it something that I ate?" Because man, I got a premonition about tonight, and I think everybody's going to be surprised. I've been watching all the analysis, watching all the so-called experts there talking about what's going to happen tonight, and I just have a very strong feeling that what we're going to see is not what we expect to see. Here's what I see happening. Canelo is going to come out tonight. First of all, let's talk a little bit about Canelo. We know exactly what we're going to get from Canelo. Canelo's going to come out. He's going to look to bang. He's going to look to get inside. He's going to look to reduce the distance between himself and Bud. He's going to look to get him on the ropes, work the body. Canelo is one of the greatest fighters of our generation. There's absolutely no doubt about it. Tremendous body puncher. Not a guy who's going to dazzle you with his feet or anything. But he's a guy who's got enough movement, not lateral movement, but foot skills to be able to work his way inside. He moves his head. He's a decent counter puncher. Great body puncher who basically looks just to chop you down. It's like wham bam, thank you ma'am. He's just coming at you. You know, you're going to hit me, I'm going to hit you, and I'm going to last. I'm the guy who's going to last because I'm the guy with the superior power and chin. He has one of the greatest chins I've ever seen. He's really, if you just look at the way that he's built, he's got no neck. He's just, guys like that can just absorb punishment. So that's what you're going to see from Canelo. There's not much to talk about with him. That's his style. He's straight ahead. I'm going to chop you down. Come on. Let's see what you can do. Now, Bud Crawford, on the other hand, is not only a generational fighter, he's an all-time great. And I think a lot of people, to the common guy, the non-boxing fan who really doesn't understand what they're looking at when they watch a fight, they don't appreciate that. He doesn't have that level of respect at this point in his career. But after tonight, he's going to. Because I contend, and I've contended like this for a while watching this guy fight, that he's one of the greatest fighters that I've ever seen. And I've studied these guys. I've been studying boxing for the last 55 years, and I've watched all the film that's out there on these guys. They're great fighters. The Sugar Ray Robinsons, the Joe Lewises, the Ike Williams, the Sandy Sadlers, the Willie Peps, all these great fighters. And Bud is going to, after tonight, Bud is going to set a place at that table for him. Is going to be set for him at that table with those great fighters. And here's why. Bud Crawford is a guy. Today, we're kind of, this generation today is enamored by like things that are flashy. But when you look at Bud Crawford fight, you're not going to see the foot speed or hand speed of like a Sugar Ray Leonard. That's not Bud Crawford. You're not going to see amazing, unprecedented reflexes and athletic ability the way that we did when we saw Roy Jones fight. You're not going to be flabbergasted, intabagasted, rebagasted by a combination of speed and power, the likes of which we've never seen in a guy like Mike Tyson. You're not going to harken back and say, whoa, look at this two-fisted power on a guy, knockout power in either hand, granite chin, can do it all, can box, can punch, can fight any style that you want, like a Sugar Ray Robinson. You're not going to see any of that. What you're going to see is a guy who's got real subtle skills. He's a guy, in any sport, I've always admired guys who basically have what I call economy of motion. Okay, a guy who just does subtle things to put himself into position to be able to counter you, whether it's in any of the sports that I've watched, just a guy who just has it in his head. Now, obviously, he's got the physical skills behind it. Bud is an exceptional fighter, skill and talent-wise. There's no doubt about it. He's just not flash. He uses that combination of intelligence anticipatory ability, reflexes, and that brain that he's got, where he does like you know, they used to say about Lomo. You know, he downloads the information on you, figures it out. Then he's like a locksmith. He just fashions that key. Like the first 3 or 4 rounds of the fight, he's figuring you out, looking you over, using his jab, maybe little footwork, and then he's just making that key. He's back in the shop in his mind, and he's making that key, figuring out what he's got to do to beat you, and then he's putting it all together in the mid rounds, and then basically cutting you to size in the later rounds. That's the way that he fights. He's a guy, you know, I love what he does angle-wise, because you never see him. Rarely. Sometimes you'll see him box around the ring, but it's usually, you know, 2 steps to the left, 3 steps to the right. He uses a little shuffle work to change angles on his opponents and go out the side door. He's a guy who likes to fight moving backwards, and he can do that. He's one of the rare guys that can do that. Get you moving forward, and then counter you with shots. He's tremendous at that. But the subtle way that he does things is just it's art. It's like watching Leonardo da Vinci work when I look at Bud Crawford fight. And so tonight you're going to see all that on display. Now I know he didn't do great at 54, and people are saying, well, if he couldn't knock a guy out at 54 and had problems there, what's he going to do at 68? Legitimate question. But I think you look at Crawford, you look at his size, you look at his frame. I think he's going to carry 68. Again, this is counterintuitive, but I think he's going to carry 68 better than he did 54. And I think he's going to have really, really good power at that level. And I think he's going to be able to neutralize what Crawford does by stunning him, you know, throughout the fight with good, sharp shots. Here's how I see the fight going. Early rounds, you're going to see Bud use his feet a little bit more than he does. Oh, by the way, you're not going to see Bud fight from the right-handed stance at all times. He's going to be exclusively with that left hand, because he's a natural left-hander, and he's got a superb left jab. It's not only one that he can fire out there with some quickness. It's got thudding power to it. He really, really smacks you with that damn jab, and you need to be able to do that with a guy who moves forward and has power like Canelo. Because you got to be able to stop his feet. That's the whole thing. People don't realize. You got a guy who wants to get inside and work you inside. You got to be able to stop his forward momentum. And you do that with a good, solid, stiff jab. And you're going to see that early in the fight with Bud, basically taking that jab to Canelo. As the fight goes on, you're going to see Bud start to sit down a little bit more on his punches when he figures Canelo out. He's going to start throwing combinations. Still be using that really, really great footwork, because you just can't just let Canelo hit you, because he's got that power. But you're going to see Bud just start to string combinations together in the middle rounds. I think that's going to frustrate the hell out of Canelo. I think it's going to hurt him, not in a way where he's staggered over here. He goes down, because he's got one of the best chins I've ever seen. And a guy who has 2 things. I talk about this all the time when I talk about Rocky Marciano. Well, Marciano had 3 things. You got power in both hands, you got a chin, and you got stamina. And buddy, you're going to be a hard man to beat. I don't care how good of a boxer your opponent is. You got those 3 things, you're going to be a hard guy to beat. And that's what Canelo brings to the table. But I think Bud is just off the damn charts. I think when we get to those later rounds, you're going to see Bud sitting down on his punches more. And now he's going to start firing off 5, 6, 7 punch combinations. And I just don't think Canelo's a guy who normally doesn't cut a lot. He's got some cuts. You rarely see him where he's blown up. I don't know if I've ever seen him after a fight where I looked at him and said, "Maron, this guy took a beating tonight." Nah, you know, he handles a punch as well. But tonight he's going to walk through a damn meat grinder, and in rounds 9, 10, maybe 8, 9, and 10, Bud is going to put a hammering on him. And then the 11th round, it's going to get to the point where Bud is going to be throwing shots that Canelo is just not answering. And you're going to see the referee stop this fight in the 11th round with Canelo up against the ropes, taking a pounding a la Sugar Ray Robinson, Jake LaMotta, St. Valentine's Day Massacre. That's the type of fight you're going to see tonight. It's going to be an action-packed fight. Canelo's going to get his in. Don't worry about it. You're damn sure that he's going to test Bud, going to test his chin and test his body, no doubt about it. But I think Bud is going to carry the weight really, really well. The big, strong guy. He's been in there. He trains with bigger guys throughout his career, so I don't think that's going to be much of an issue. But this is going to be a great one. And I hope you all tune in to watch it. And remember, you heard it from Old School Saint here. You didn't hear it from Teddy Atlas. You didn't hear it from these other guys. All these guys are hedging. Well, you know what? Here's what they're saying. Hey, you know what? If Bud, if it's a skill fight, and Bud can take the punishment, and he doesn't get knocked out, he's going to win by a 12th round decision. But you know what? He didn't do too well at 54, and he's going to get up against Canelo at 68. I think he's going to get stopped in the 8th round. That's what you hear. I'm telling you that Bud Crawford is going to win this fight. He's going to win it big. He's going to stop Canelo. And tomorrow morning, people are going to start talking about Bud Crawford like he's one of the greatest fighters who ever lived. And you know why? Because he is. Anyway, that's my take. I could be making a huge fool of myself here, but you know what? You know my thing, baby. You got to be able to take the punches. You got to be able to get knocked down once in a while, and you got to get up, and you just got to keep on fighting. My record's pretty good, so I guess I got a little bit of money to work with, a little bit of house money to work with here, because my prediction has been pretty good. But I'm going out on a limb here tonight, and you heard it from me first. This is what's going to happen. Bud Crawford stops Canelo tonight in the 11th round. Referee stops contest. You heard it here first.